this is Maureen Gloria with Candela Way, and thank you for tuning into my very first video about the Fool's Journey of the Tarot. Yay! Let's get started. Now, as you can see, the Fool is numbered 0 from the Universal Tarot deck, but there is no 0 in the Old English Tarot. No 0 anywhere. So you must be wondering, why is that? Why some decks have a 0 and some do not? It's really based on the artist who drew it, and the number 0 simply means there is no beginning and no end. The Fool could be the lowest card or it could be the highest card of the deck. Well, that's good to know. So, also in the Universal Tarot deck, the artist decided to give us some interpretation of languages. So here you could see Il Matto in Italian, Le Fou in French, The Fool in English, and El Loco, Spanish. So we'll just set that down right there. So, before I begin, I also want to point out that the Fool does not mean what we typically think of fools today. Usually when we say you're a fool or I'm a fool, what we're saying is you're an idiot or I'm an idiot. But no, that didn't mean that back in the 1500s. Fools were entertainers. They were court jesters. They were supposedly happy-go-lucky and carefree, not a care in the world. And maybe, too, some here in modern times, seeing someone so carefree about life, we would call a fool or an idiot. But back then, it wasn't such a bad term. So just remember, the Fool is an idealistic person who doesn't know what they're getting themselves into yet, but they have the courage to go forward and explore. The easiest way to learn the tarot is to first familiarize yourself with the pictures on each card. Hold one up, look at the image, and see what comes to mind. I would write them down and look them up to see if what I felt matched what the meaning is. But keep in mind, different decks will have their own imagery of what the Fool should look like, as well as the other cards. But basically, most of the decks don't deviate that much from imagery or meaning. Now, as with these two decks, the Universal Tarot and the Old English Tarot, you can see that even though the colors are different and the way the Fool is positioned, here he's facing west and the red Fool here is facing east. But they're both holding a stick or a wand with a satchel, which represents him walking along carefree. Remember, not a care in the world. Still about to walk off a cliff because he's not paying attention. The one difference I do see here is that the Fool on the left is holding a flower, which symbolizes purity, and the Fool on the right is holding a stick or a walking stick, which is interesting. So you could interpret that to mean perhaps this Fool is a little bit smarter, knowing that he has a long journey ahead of him and wants to be prepared in case he gets tired. He can still keep going. Now, normally the Fool is someone who's ready to leap off into the unknown. The Fool is naive, he's up for adventure, he's not focused on where he's going. He's not aware of any dangers ahead, and he's with the attitude, okay, I'm ready, let's go. He's not even properly packed for this adventure. I mean, really, look at that satchel. What could he possibly be carrying in there? Not much. So, looks like he's just going to rely on his wits to find food or water or whatever is out there to survive and hope for the best. So that's what's good about the Fool, is that he's willing to sacrifice anything to see what's out there to better himself. Now, maybe you know some people like that, or whoever you read for will know someone like that. Just remember about this Fool is that he's willing to sacrifice anything to see what's out there to better himself. Maybe for some that's a good thing. Maybe not for others, but for this Fool, He wants to take a chance and see what happens. He's very spontaneous. So he could have decided this morning to just take his little satchel and take off and figure out what happens later. But he also doesn't care about the outfit he's wearing either, which means he's not caring what people think of him in his outfit. The fool is not conformed to society's rules. I mean, right now, the fool is in control of his life and situation, or so he thinks. Because look, he's not paying attention to where he's going. And this looks like an accident waiting to happen. Now, if the card is reversed like this in the reading, then it would represent that the fool is making a bad decision in going on this journey, or that he's being thoughtless with his actions, or that his life situations are controlling him and preventing him from moving forward with his life. The fool in reverse is also feeling restless and looking for the next best thing. So that's what you can interpret for reverse. So we'll bring him upright again. So the next thing you want to notice are that the colors of the dogs are different, but their representation is the same. Dogs represent the distractions that rule the fool's life. Some people want to move forward, but they can't because they're easily influenced by distractions. Here you see the white dog trying to get the fool's attention, and the brown dog is actively trying to control the fool from leaving, preventing him from moving forward. But the fool just keeps going. He doesn't care. He's not even paying attention to the poor dogs that want his attention. The laurel wreath is a symbol of his life force. Now, usually there's a sun in the Fool card. The one on the left has a nice big bright sun, which represents purity and innocence, and him traveling during daylight. In the English deck, there is no sun, but the background is yellow. So it would represent the same thing, and daylight as well. So now we're ready to tell the story of the Fool's journey. It's a short story of a man pursuing his dream and facing the world as a whole. The story starts with the Fool. The first card is 0, and that implies he has no idea what will happen to him, and he sets out on his journey with simple, carefree, happy-go-lucky thoughts and hopes and dreams in his head. Somehow he manages to get off the cliff safely and will meet the other figures in the deck as well, like the magician, the empress, the emperor, the hierophant, and so forth. And the Fool will be given special gifts and advice to take him on his journey to better himself and others. The first person he'll meet is the magician. What happens when he meets the magician? Stay tuned for the next video. You can also find me at candelaway.com.